I'm Mark Crutcher. This is Tuesday, January 8th, 2019, and this is LifeTalk. And I'm joined by one of the usual suspects. We have another issue going on that
Yes.
we've had sickness go through the office. Everybody here, it seems like, has been sick off and on. Sheila's had the brunt of it, it seems like. But anyway, she's out. She's got a sinus infection, which she gets a couple of times a year, it seems, and it's really bad. So anyway, be praying for her. Anyway, I'm sure she'll be back next week. And
I'm sure she will.
anyway, let's go with what's trending in the news today. Since the new year started, most of the stuff that's been going on in the pro-life movement has had to do with politics.
Yes.
One of the things we saw is that we got this holdup because of the immigration issue with Trump. And the Democrats, of course, are doing their best to keep it held up because they think it hurts Trump.
Three weeks and going now.
But one of the things that they've done is they've thrown abortion into the mix now.
Oh yeah, first thing. That's what Pelosi did first.
First rattle out of the box.
Definitely.
And
why wouldn't she?
Now they're saying that they're not going to go along with any kind of budget unless it increases by millions of dollars.
Yeah, $5 million, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Trump is wanting
funding
a wall
for abortion, right?
That's $5.7 billion, and it's immoral in Pelosi's eyes. But funding abortion and overseas is not.
It's not immoral.
Yeah.
Yep. She said,
Pure
quote,
evil.
Trump's wall is immoral.
Yes.
That's what she said.
She did.
She also said that we have a moral responsibility to ensure all children of God are treated with compassion and decency.
Yeah.
What would this woman know about morals, compassion, or decency?
She doesn't. I want to remind people what she said in 2013 because she is all about keeping abortion legal up until the day the baby is born.
Yeah.
The same with Hillary Clinton
Right.
here. But she said that as a respectful Catholic, that abortion is the sacred ground and it has nothing to do with politics. That is crazy to me.
This woman she's like the poster child for moral debauchery. She is a complete degenerate. She and people like Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Chuck Schumer.
Yes.
But I want to bring up this issue of her Catholicism. If I were a Catholic, this would make me livid.
It should.
That this woman would claim to be a good Catholic.
Right.
But let me tell you what would make me more livid. I remember one time somebody confronted her over this, how you can support legalized abortion and call yourself a good practicing Catholic, which she's a liar. She's a bald-faced liar.
You can't.
But she made the point. She said, I get to take communion just like every other Catholic. Mm-hmm. And in a way, she's got a point there. She does take communion, and they find priests that are willing to give communion to this woman who is no more Catholic than my dog Tux is.
That's right.
He's as much a Catholic as she is.
Right.
Anyway, I think that somebody, if I were Catholic, I would be, I don't know what you can do. I don't know what all the canon rules are and the laws and the way the Catholic Church's hierarchical system works. And you're not Catholic either, so you wouldn't have that information. But I've brought this up before with other people, Father Frank and others that I'm friends with. And I've never really got a satisfactory answer to what should the consequences be for a priest that gives communion to someone like this.
Right. Why isn't she excommunicated along with the other so-called Catholics that
are pro-aborts?
Pro-aborts, yeah,
Right.
exactly.
I mean, this is a core issue with the Catholic Church.
Right.
And, John Paul II, you said, why isn't she excommunicated? John Paul II, as I understand it, suggested that these people have excommunicated themselves, people like Pelosi. Mm-hmm. So why is a priest giving her communion? I don't understand this. This makes no sense. And what should the penalty be for a priest who does that? And I think he should be excommunicated. He should be thrown out of the church.
Exactly.
But anyway, it's just these guys are involved in a scandal. This is a scandal that this woman can come out here and truthfully say on national television, I can go get Holy Communion from my church. That not just believes that communion is symbolic, but is the actual body of Christ.
Right.
Now, if you honestly believe that, you and I don't don't believe that. But if you honestly believe that, and you're a Catholic priest, you're a priest of the Catholic Church, how can you give this woman communion?
Yeah, I mean, it does boggle the mind because
It does.
there is no understanding whatsoever to
Right.
it. It's just it's a
Meanwhile, other politics that are going on in this issue, in Idaho, Planned Parenthood has sued to allow non-doctors to do abortions. This is happening all over the country.
well, they're following it just right behind California.
California, and
They've
there's
already
other
done
states
it.
that are now allowing non-doctors.
Well, as a female here, let me ask the question, what about women? I mean, good health care for women. If they're allowing non-doctors to come in, nurse practitioners, whoever, to do abortions on these women, it's no better than illegal back alley coat hanger abortions.
It's worse,
It's-
and I'll tell you why.
Just don't get it.
I'll tell you why. Well, there's a lot of different reasons why. But back before abortion was legalized, the chant of the pro-aborts was, let's make abortion legal so it can be done in hospitals by trained medical professionals, physicians, and doctors, rather than in the back alleys. What they knew at the time, and what they've admitted since then in many writings, was that most of the abortions that were being done then were being done by physicians who were simply breaking the law.
Right.
Almost all of them were being done by licensed physicians who were simply breaking the law.
Right.
Now they're calling for non-physicians to be allowed to do abortions. So what we're going to wind up with is we're going to have, when abortion was illegal, we're going to have had a situation where a higher percentage of abortions were done by practicing physicians than is the true today when it's legal.
Well, I mean, the problem is that men and women go to school to become doctors, to save lives and to help people, not to take lives and destroy
Families,
humanity.
individual. Yeah, it's
And
unbelievable.
they just can't get enough doctors. They're not able to, and so they're having to pull from every direction to try and get people to kill babies here.
Yeah, it's like, they talk about making abortion pills. Before, it was going to be dispensed by licensed physicians who have examined the woman and made a decision that she's... Now they're saying, no, we're just going to put them in bubble packs down at the 7-Eleven store. He'll be hanging by the cash register.
Better yet, in California, they've got Coke machines that are now Plan B abortion pills that you can just insert money and get your abortion pill.
And, of course, that's a free ride
it's great.
for sexual predators.
Oh, definitely.
And, we saw that study. We talked about that years ago.
Right.
A study out of England.
Yeah.
Where they discovered when they made abortion pills over the counter, and Plan B and morning after pills and all that, number one purchaser of them was older men.
Yes, it's stepfathers, it's fathers, it's
Right.
boyfriends, it's creeps that are preying on our children and impregnating them, and they
Right.
don't want to take
don't wanna go to
responsibility
jail.
for it. They don't want to go to jail.
Or they don't want to have a father shoot them through the head.
Yeah,
So
it's just
they can get their victim to take these pills. Speaking of moral defectives, Kamala Harris and Mazi Hirono, this degenerate, both of these degenerates we saw prevalent in the Kavanaugh hearings, now they're objecting to a guy named Brian Boucher being on the federal bench because he's a Catholic male.
Yeah, when they're biased because he's Catholic.
And he's a man.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. What would happen if Trump came out and said, I'm not going to appoint this person to a federal bench because he is a Muslim or a Muslim female?
Oh, there would be riots in the street because of it.
It would be hell would break loose.
Well, and it would be okay if this guy was Catholic but pro-abortion. That would be just fine.
Oh, yeah, they've got some of those.
Yeah, and that's what they want.
Right.
But because he's Catholic and pro-life, oh my.
He's persona non grata. You can't put him on the Supreme Court.
I don't know. I hope she's burned her bridges with Catholics because of this, because there is a huge percentage in this world that are Catholics. So,
But let's talk about something here for a moment or touch on something here that we've talked about many times in the past. Let's make sure people understand what this immigration battle is all about.
oh yeah,
It is about abortion.
right.
That's the core issue here, and people hear me say that, and they look at me, and I think you did the same thing the first time you heard me say this. Like, how on earth are you going to tie these two together? The abortion issue can be solved today. Congress can solve this issue right now. You pass federal law that says if you hire someone you have not vetted to make sure they are a legal resident of the United States, you get 10 years in jail. The immigration battle is over today. Interstate 35, just a couple of miles from us here, would be clogged with cars headed back to Mexico.
That's right.
You end it automatically. If you make it a federal crime and you enforce it, and you say if you're a construction supervisor or whatever, you hire somebody that you have not documented is a legal American citizen or has a right to work in the United States, you go to prison. Then it's over.
Right.
So if they're all that concerned about it, why don't they do that?
Because they don't want to.
Because they don't want to end it.
We can't afford to.
We cannot afford it.
Yeah.
It always comes down to money. And as you know, and of course Texas is more susceptible to this, maybe with the exception maybe of California, New Jersey. I mean, California, New Mexico, Arizona, and Texas are the states that are most affected by this. Texas has the strongest economy in the country, bar none. We have billions of dollars in the bank. We're running at a surplus. Things are going great in Texas. You take the Hispanic workers out of Texas, and our economy collapses overnight.
We are in trouble.
We're in deep trouble.
We don't have people working on the roads here.
We don't have any.
It's just construction in general.
They're saying in Dallas-Fort Worth alone, there are 10,000 construction jobs going begging right now.
Right.
Construction projects are being held up because they don't have enough people to work. Take away the Hispanic workers from them. Yeah. We've talked about this before. When we redid this building, all the contractors that we hired, 100% of the workers were Hispanics.
That's right.
And what we need to understand is, and you say, well, how does that relate to abortion? You can make an argument that Hispanics take jobs away from Americans. Or you can make an argument that they don't. But the argument that you can't not make is that Hispanics are taking jobs of Americans that do not exist. Our population, we have lost population over the last 50 years.
Yes.
If you take immigration out of the loop.
Right.
Now our population's gone down.
Yes.
These Hispanics are filling the jobs that would have been taken by some of the 60 million people that we've butchered.
That's right.
Illegal immigration is the cure for the labor shortage that was created by abortion. Now, this is the story that the Democrats don't want anybody to know.
Sure.
And the Republicans are in bed with the businesses that want the cheap labor, and so are some of the Democrats. And so the Democrats now and the Republicans are both looking the other way at this and playing like they want to solve it. Right. Everybody, oh yeah, we want to solve the immigration issue. No, they don't. If they wanted to solve it,
it could have already been solved.
It could have been solved. It can be solved in 30 minutes. Pass the legislation that I talked about a minute ago. They don't want to solve it. Yeah. Because if they solve that problem and these immigrants go back to Mexico or Honduras or El Salvador or wherever they go back to, if they go back, our economy collapses. Yeah. And they all know that. Right. The other thing is, I think the Democrats are starting to see that they're losing elections. And I think they're saying, if we can't get Americans to vote for us, let's import some people to vote for us. Right. And that's what they're doing. And so now you see these people coming in, and now you see these jurisdictions or localities around the country saying that we're going to allow illegals to vote. We're going to allow illegals to vote. Yeah. People that are not even supposed to legally be here. Right. We're going to let them vote in these elections. Yeah. That's what's going on here. Yeah. So let's make sure people understand what the immigration battle is about. It is about curing the labor shortage that was created by abortion that the Democrats who support abortion don't want you to know about.
That's it.
Because if they go home, our economy collapses, the American people are going to stand up and say, why can't we fill these jobs? And somebody's going to bring up the point, it's because we killed all the people that would be taking those jobs.
That's right. That's
the bottom line. So don't be tricked by the Republicans and the Democrats. And I think that's what Trump is saying. You know, people think that Trump's enemies are the Democrats. Trump's enemies are the establishment politicians in this country. And some of them are Republicans and most of them are Democrats. But it's not just Democrats that are his enemies. It's establishment Republicans as well. Right. And we're starting to see that with people like Romney, for example, and these kind of people, and McCain, who died not too long ago. Right. They have run a scam on the American people for decades. And now these chickens are coming home to roost. And that's what Trump represents. Anyway, make no mistake about it. The immigration issue is tied to the abortion issue directly. We would not have the immigration problem if we had never legalized abortion. This would not be an issue.
That's right.
Anyway, let's take time out for RoeBots, and when we come back, we want to talk about a situation that's pretty close to my heart. We'll come right back.
In 1973, the U.S. Supreme Court legalized abortion nationwide. The decision is called Roe versus Wade, and those who defend it are known as RoeBots. This is how they think.
Sometimes a woman gets pregnant because her contraceptive failed, and she should not be forced to have a baby because of something that was not her fault. Agreeing to have sex is not the same as agreeing to have a baby.
First off, when a man and a woman are involved in a sexual relationship, unless they are totally ignorant of the biological realities of what they're doing, they understand that it could result in pregnancy, even if they are using contraceptives. Secondly, if the woman becomes pregnant, she has no option but to have the baby. The only question is whether she will have a live baby or a dead one. Because of legalized abortion, she can choose to have a dead baby if she wishes, but one way or the other, she is having a baby. So biologically speaking, agreeing to have sex is the same as agreeing to have a baby. But this issue raises an interesting question. Does the concept that agreeing to have sex does not mean agreeing to have a baby only apply to women? I mean, what if a man and a woman are having a sexual relationship with the mutual understanding that if she gets pregnant, she will have an abortion and he will pay for it? But when she gets pregnant, she changes her mind and decides to give birth. Should his only obligation be to pay for the cost of an abortion? After all, that was their original agreement. Or let's say they never even discussed the possibility of pregnancy. Does he have an obligation at all? If so, then what we are saying is that when a man and a woman have sex, only the man is agreeing to have a baby. The point is, the pro-choice crowd has this immature view that people should be able to do whatever they want to do without consequences or responsibilities. It's like thinking you can live on French fries and chocolate shakes and still have the body of a supermodel. In this case, they think sex should not be accompanied by the realities of having a baby, even if it means killing the baby. We're back. We had a story out of England where this man and woman have triplets.
Yes.
And the doctors are telling this mom that two of the babies are not doing well,
Right.
and one of them is doing okay.
Yes.
And they want to go in and kill the two that are not doing well
Yeah.
to let
At
the other
12
one,
weeks.
at 12 weeks to let the other ones survive.
Right.
This family, these parents, won't do this.
Good.
They won't kill one of their children or two of their children.
Yep.
And they insist on continuing on. They're under a lot of pressure to have abortion. I've dealt with people over the years that have been in this situation, and they say the pressure from the medical community is profound
I'm sure.
to abort.
Right.
And most times they do.
You know, it's sad because when you're pregnant and you hear that there's something wrong with your child,
Yeah.
you know, not that I would ever have an abortion,
Right.
because that's not a choice, but what goes through a woman's head and her husband is just, you know, you can't even explain it. It's just it's confusion, and it's I can't even explain it. It's just
Well, I can explain it a little bit.
upset. I mean, you're just
Yeah.
overwhelmed.
Yes, you are, and I've been through it. As you know, we lost a child, a daughter, that was born with a condition called Meckel-Gruber syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
But we were told when she was still unborn that she had Turner syndrome, and which is related to it. But Turner syndrome is very survivable. Meckel-Gruber is always fatal. But anyway, she died right after she was born. And but yeah, I can remember when the geneticist told us that she had Turner syndrome, then he kind of introduced the idea of abortion. It was not a pleasant conversation, as you can imagine, with
Sure.
me at that point.
Right.
But Anyway, yeah, you do. You panic and you try to make deals with God and you do all kinds of things to see your child survive.
Yeah.
But this family would not kill their baby.
Yes.
And what happened?
The babies were taken early through C-section. All three of them lived. The Oliver, I think, was the smallest, a little over 2 pounds, and they were healthy. They were only in the hospital for 4 weeks.
And they went home right before Christmas.
Right before Christmas, which is amazing to have. Look,
There they are on the screen. Yep. Look
They
how
are
cute
adorable.
And the doctors involved and the pro-aborts who would call this family irresponsible. I've heard people call women like this irresponsible.
Yeah.
They would have had 2 of those babies killed.
Yeah, that would have. And look, they're healthy. I mean, they are alive and well.
And they just spent their first Christmas.
Yes.
Now, for people to understand what we're talking about here, what they call this is a selective reduction. That's a nice way of saying we'll go in and kill some of the babies.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just an abortion where you kill some of the babies and you leave some of them alive, or one of them alive, or whatever. You don't kill all of them. This is a description of selective reduction that was in the New England Journal of Medicine. So this is an official medical publication that defines or describes what a selective reduction is. And every time this issue comes out, I like to read this so people understand what kind of degenerates we're talking about on the other side of this issue. Quote, using ultrasound to locate each fetus, the doctors would insert a needle into the chest cavity of the most accessible fetus and place the needle tip into the heart of the baby. Potassium chloride was then injected into the heart, and the heart was viewed on the ultrasound screen until it stopped beating. Even at 9 weeks, 3 of the 12 fetuses selected for elimination presented problems. The heart continued to beat, and the procedure had to be repeated, unquote. This is after they witnessed some selective reductions, and of all the babies that were being selectively reduced, 3 presented problems, which means they didn't die easy.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And the procedure had to be repeated until the hearts quit beating.
Can you imagine the pain that they felt, the pain that they went through before they died, and the needle
Oh,
going
you think it would be painful to have a needle inserted through your chest cavity into your heart?
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's so heartbreaking. It just makes me want to really bawl my eyes out. Like, I just don't get it.
Well, this is what you have to accept this.
Yeah.
When you accept legalized abortion, this is what you have to accept. And the moral degenerates in the medical community that push this on these women, this is what they're talking about.
Sick.
This is exactly what they're talking about.
Yep.
Now, if you want to see it taken to the next level, and I wasn't going to bring this up until it just popped on me here a minute ago. One of the ways that I've seen in some of the medical literature, they call this harpooning the well. That's what they call it. Mm-hmm. And we're going to harpoon the well. And the well is the baby, right? They harpoon it through the mother's
chest. Her abdomen.
Abdominal wall.
Yeah.
They want to make sure they've got it into the baby's chest, into the baby's heart. Mm-hmm. What they will do, they'll stab it into that baby. They'll look at it on the ultrasound screen to make sure they've got it. They will let go of the needle and watch it jump around. And when that needle starts jumping around, they know they've got it in the baby, and then they can push the potassium chloride.
Yeah.
It's called harpooning the well.
They wait until the baby stops squirming.
Right. And so then this is what you get into with legalized abortion.
Yep.
And you can sanitize it. You can try to make it seem as innocuous as you want to make it seem.
Yep.
This is the reality of it.
Yeah.
And anyway, you got anything else?
No, I mean, just faith. Abortion is a human sacrifice, torture, and murder. Yes, it is.
Yep.
And I won't bring attention to a pro-abort that we have on here talking, so.
Yeah.
Because 41 million abortions worldwide in 2018 alone, That's also from Faith. But no, we love your comments and your stories that you guys bring to us to use on our show, and we do appreciate those. You can email me at renee@prolifeamerica.com or call us, private message us.
Smoke signals.
We obviously go live on Mark's Facebook page and LifeTalk, so you can private message us on those if you have any show ideas. And if we use it, then we will send you, if I can get this in here, we'll send you a LifeTalk mug. And so, anyways, we thank you. We appreciate it, and we hope you all have a Happy New Year.
Absolutely. And we will be back next week, and we will get these technical problems solved, and you won't have to see this idiocy anymore. So we'll have our own brand, a different brand of idiocy, I guess. Anyway, Renee and I, and hopefully Sheila, will be back next Tuesday. Until then, remember, Life Dynamics is not here to put up a good fight. We're here to win, because winning is how the killing stops. We'll see you Tuesday.